There is a crisis in my kitchen. I am out of pizza, which is a big problem when you have small children, but I'm going to solve that today. I have a few hours to myself and I have oodles of stuff to make, but I'm going to start with making pizza dough. Two types of dough. I'm going to make gluten-free for me. I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to make normal wheat pizza dough for everybody else. Now, I do need to apologise as well. It's a couple of weeks since I posted a video. Life has happened. We went to see my parents. It was very nice. My septic tank broke, which was deeply unpleasant, and I'm running out of scented candles. But all that aside, let's have a look at what we're going to do today. Gluten-free pizza dough, normal pizza dough. I need gluten-free bread for me. I'm going to do another video making some dry mixes, and then I'm going to crack on with some meal prep stuff for the week. So come along, join me. Let's get organised for the week ahead so that I can have homemade food for my family without having to spend all week in the kitchen. Right, I have many things before me, including a recipe, which is unusual for me. So this is my KitchenAid mixer. I've had it for years and we'll probably have it, it will outlive me. Why are you so tricky? So this particular recipe, and I'll link them all down below as soon as YouTube starts letting me actually link things, because it's been a bit funny about that at the moment. Let's make a start, shall we? So I am going to use gluten-free bread flour. The recipe actually says all-purpose flour, but I find I do get a better result with bread flour. Now, if you've never made gluten-free pizza dough, do not expect it to be anything like normal pizza dough, because that would be the ideal, but it's just not, because it doesn't have gluten in. But the plus side is you don't have to spend a lifetime rolling, kneading, etc. You don't get your arm workout in. I just get that lifting toddlers. Right, so 6 cups of flour, plus more for sprinkling. Oh, you're a bit chunky. This has gone a little bit chunky because what I do when I get my flour, because I tend to buy a lot of it, is I will vacuum seal it so that no bugs and beasties have oxygen to grow in. There's one, essentially a bag. I have half a cup of flour left. This might actually end up being too much flour because it's all compressed, but you just add a little more water, add a little more oil. Life is good, it's fine. 6 teaspoons of xanthan gum. You were a teaspoon, this is xanthan gum. It's just really nice having pizza bases made ahead. What I do is I make loads and then I individually freeze them. 6, crikey, that's a lot of xanthan gum. 2. And what I do is I shape them and I freeze them in the shape of the cast iron skillets I'm going to cook them on. And to make it really easy to know which is which, I've got one rectangular cast iron skillet that I do my glutinous bases on, and then I've got a little square one that I do mine on. So it's super easy for me to tell everything apart, makes life good, and it means that on a Friday night, all I have to do is open a jar of pasta sauce, grate some cheese, add whatever gubbins fall out of the fridge onto the top, and I've got amazing homemade pizza, and it's so much better than the stuff you get out the freezer in the supermarket, I promise. Right, what have I got now? Now I need 2 tablespoons of yeast. Where's my tablespoon? Hello, I keep my yeast in the fridge. Actually, I keep it in the freezer. I've got a huge bag of yeast in the freezer and I decant it into a Tupperware to keep in the fridge, and that way it lasts for years and years and years. So, is it tablespoons or teaspoons? Definitely says tablespoons, which seems like a lot. There's a lot of flour in it. I don't make this very often because, as I said, I do make a lot, and then typically Friday night is pizza night. I want 3 teaspoons of granulated sugar. I'm very Scottish there for a minute. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Now, 2 1/4 cups, very specific, of warm water. There's my cup measure. I even have warm water ready prepared. Look at me, professional. Somebody might give me stick for using the same cup measure, because apparently cup measures are different for liquids versus dries. I'm unbothered by this fact. This is why I'm a better cook than I am a baker, because I don't do precision. 9 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Is there 9 tablespoons in here? Probably not. Maybe, I might get away with it. Might end up being some vegetable oil in it. 1, 9. Awesome. I'm gonna have so many dishes to do this afternoon. Be fine, it's fine. Oh, salt. I forgot salt. Yes. It says kosher salt. This is probably not kosher. This is just table salt. 3 teaspoons. And then what I'm going to do, because I'm feeling fancy, is I'm going to add some herbs to this and some garlic. Because I do find that gluten-free pizza dough can be a little bit bland. Garlic, Italian style seasoning. Now get this off. How much am I adding in? I don't know, some, couple of big teaspoons. Any opportunity to add flavour. That's a teaspoon, right? Husband's texting me frantically about the septic tank situation. Don't worry, I won't go into details. That would be unpleasant. It's a fixable problem. That is the main thing. Right, in the bowl of your stand mixer, fitted with the paddle attachment. Oh, I want the paddle attachment. Oh, never mind. I'll give this a rinse. Read the instructions first, Claire. Paddle attachment. I guess we're not needing it, are we? The hook will come for the next one. Mix on medium until the dough begins to come together. Put the guard on, Claire. Put the guard on. Right, the dough has definitely come together in a ball to the point where it's fighting with this. So the instructions now say turn the mixer onto high speed or your food processor on. You can do this in a food processor, you don't need a mixer. And process until the dough is no longer a ball but has begun to appear whipped, about 3 minutes. This is designed to add air into the dough, which will make it easier to handle after chilling and rise better in the oven. I'm not sure this is going to appear whipped. This feels a touch dry to do that, so I might just add a tiny touch more water. Just a scant dribble. And off we go for 3 minutes. That was an entertaining 3 minutes. If you remember silly putty, I don't know if that's still a thing. Do kids still play with silly putty? It was a thing when I was a kid. And the noise that it made when you sort of plunged your hand into the jar, a lot of that going on. A lot of that going on from my machine here. So I have a large bowl here. It does actually look whipped. Oh my goodness, that's heavy. Which is, you know, what it says it should. So I'm feeling confident. Every time I make pizza dough, I try a different recipe because I haven't yet found one that I absolutely love for gluten-free dough. It's tricky. Just never quite hits the spot like the normal stuff does. But such is the life of somebody who can't eat gluten. I have to say it's not too sticky. It is a bit sticky, but I think I've got the liquid to flour ratio just right there with that extra dribble of water. So what we are going to do now is I have my oiled bowl looking at my instructions, apologies. And we are going to cover this, the damp tea towel, and wait for it to rise. And whilst we're doing that, I'm going to crack on with the normal pizza dough. I am not going to bother washing this out because it doesn't matter. They're not going to get gluten. Well, they are going to be glutened because they're going to eat gluten, but they're okay with that. I am going to be sensible because I realise I'm wearing a black top, which is already covered in cat hair. I once got a comment on my old channel that the cat hair on my black cardigan was distracting, and I can understand for some people that that is. I'm sorry. I have cats, one of whom is a big, great, white, fluffy ragdoll, and it's a fact of life. But we can be sensible sausages and wear a pinny. Then there's less flour on me to complement the cat hair. Right, normal person pizza dough. This involves a bit of a workout. I need 1 3/4 cups of warm water. Right, tablespoon of sugar. This is to get our yeast started. 2 1/4 teaspoons of, this recipe is clearly American, it says Red Star instant yeast. I don't have that. I have no idea what brand this is. And presumably this is to make sure that the yeast is alive and well. So I'll give it a stir. I'm trusting that it is. I mean, I've just done the other one without pre-hydrating my yeast and seeing if it goes bubbly, but you know, just for kicks and giggles, let's see if this bag of yeast that I've had for about 2 years actually is still with us. It's alive! We have bubbles! So I'm going to pop 3 1/2 to 4 cups. I'm going to go as 4 cups because it's quite humid here today. We are absolutely praying for rain. It hasn't rained here for 5 weeks, 6 weeks, which is very unusual. Typically I live in one of the wettest parts of the UK. So I've been spending an hour every single day. That's not going to fit. Watering my garden. It's only May and my water butts are dry. This is scary. Right, I'm going to put 4 cups of flour in. I have blended oil. It's 15% olive oil apparently. It'll do. How much do I need? I want 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Listen mate, you can't be fussy in this day and age. That's a teaspoon, you womble. Try harder. It's getting a little extra. And a teaspoon of salt. Get in there. I'm just emptying out containers today. Right, 1 teaspoon of salt. And now the instructions are use the paddle attachment or the dough hook. I think I'm probably going to need both. But we've learnt our lesson. Yes, we have. I think we need the dough hook. So the instructions say to mix it for 5 minutes and then cover and allow it to rest before you get to the kneading. So I'm going to set this off for 5 minutes. I'm going to drink my coffee and then I will come back and knead it. I've put the glutinous bread flour away, so I'm just going to use some gluten-free bread flour. Never mind, it doesn't matter. I'm now going to knead it for 5 minutes. I might need to add a little more flour. It feels alright, it's not sticky, it's not tacky, it feels pretty good. So I'm just going to, you know, knead some bread. Even though I can't eat it, there is something really satisfying about kneading dough. My arms are killing me. But it has been kneaded. I have dough. I have a mess. I'm going to put it in another oiled bowl. Put a damp tea towel on it and let it rise. So the next thing I have to do, God, I've got so much to do, is I'm going to get my bread machine out and I'm going to make some bread for me. So I need to clean up all of this really, really well so we don't cross-contaminate. I'm not too bad with cross-contamination. I know some celiacs are, but I'm quite lucky in the sense that I seem to not be too sensitive. So we'll get this covered. Then what I am going to do with these bases once they have risen is I'm going to portion them out. I'm going to was going to say mould them, but sort of shape them to the size of the pans I talked about earlier. And I'm going to bake them in a hot oven for about 5 minutes, so they're kind of part cooked. So it just means that when I come to them on a Friday night, I can just slap the toppings on. Always get the kids to do the toppings. They love it. It entertains them during that sort of witching hour before bedtime. And then they bake really quickly in the oven then. So, tea towel for you. I just realised I sounded a little whiny there when I went, oh God, I've got so much to do. Yes, no, checking myself. It's a privilege that I'm able to do this, that I have the stuff to do this, and I really enjoy doing all this. Otherwise I wouldn't do it. So I am a little overwhelmed by the to-do list, but that is entirely a problem of my own making, and it's a nice problem to have. Behold, my bread maker by Russell Hobbs. I got it on Facebook Marketplace years ago. I use it very, very regularly. Could I make bread without it? Yes. But why have a dog and bark? This is exclusively for my breads. I don't use it for normal person bread at all. I love making bread in this because it's dump and go. I don't need to think about it, so I can crack on with other things whilst this is doing its thing. Right, let's get the ingredients. Things are not going well. My husband very kindly baked with the kids the other day, which is amazing, lovely. However, he didn't tell me he used all the eggs, so I have 1 egg and I need 2. I don't have any flaxseed or anything I can substitute, so I'm going to put a tablespoon of mayonnaise in and see how it turns out. I don't know, could be rubbish, could be great, let's find out. So, to start with, and it is important that you put things in order, and apparently important that you use the same post-it note that you scribbled down this recipe on for, I don't know, 2 years. I should probably write it up somewhere. I need to have like a big binder. You should put things in the order it says. I don't know why that's important, but apparently it is. So 2 eggs, such as it is. Mayonnaise is mostly egg, right? And mayonnaise has vinegar in it, and this recipe calls for vinegar too. So I think it'll work. It could even improve it. I don't know. Next, we have 310 mils of milk. You can use whatever kind of milk you like. I do. This is cow's milk just because I have some in the fridge that's open. Then I want 6 tablespoons of oil. It's a good job I opened a new bottle. This is not gin, sadly. This is my homemade apple cider vinegar, and I want a teaspoon of vinegar. It's just a little splash. There we go. If somebody does go looking for gin in my house, and I don't know who would because my husband doesn't drink gin and I rarely drink gin, they can be very disappointed when they open that. Okay, now I want 450 grams of flour. This is a mix of gluten-free bread flour and normal press-and flour. Why? Because I can't find gluten-free bread flour anywhere anymore. We used to be able to get it at Sainsbury's, no problem. They seem to have stopped doing it online as well as in store. It's just disappeared. You can get bread mix, which is enough for 1 loaf and costs about £4. I might have to look up the actual price and put it on screen, but it's ridiculous. Like that, there is no cost saving to making your own bread if you're buying those pre-made bread mixes, in my opinion. Next, I want 1 teaspoon of salt. I had to open a new salt thing as well. And obviously I need yeast. 2 tablespoons of yeast. I've just gotten oil all over my tablespoon measure, so we're going to freestyle it. 2 tablespoons of yeast. No. 2 teaspoons of yeast. Don't make that mistake. I made that mistake before and made a brick. 2 teaspoons of yeast. Try not to put it on the salt. I don't think they would play nicely. 2 tablespoons of sugar. And then finally, xanthan gum. If you don't put xanthan gum in, your bread will crumble into dust. I put in 2.5 teaspoons, erring on the generous side. Right. And then it is as easy as that. I want to select program 9. Start, and in 2 hours and 54 minutes, bread will occur. I realised that I'm a complete muppet and I forgot some of the added ingredients that I like to put in. So it's not started mixing yet, it's still sort of warming up. I like to put in a couple of tablespoons of, this is supposed to be, what do I like to put in? Of poppy seeds. I've got some chia seeds here, I'm going to put those in as well, and the poppy seeds. Oh, don't tell me he's used them all. He hasn't, yay. Poppy seeds as well. Just basically anything to get a bit of extra goodness in. You can just go in like that. Fine. And then finally, this is a bit of a weird one, I suppose. Nettle seeds that I dried myself. They're really good for you. Make great nettle tea and are lovely in bread. There we go. Right, I've got my oven preheating to hot, 200 plus degrees, I don't know. These are my cast iron skillets. I've just had to give this one a bit of a wipe. This is one I'm going to use for my gluten-free pizzas. This is the one I'm using for the normal person ones. And we're going to start with the gluten-free one. As I said before, basically, I'm going to part bake them for a few minutes. I am going to have to do them one at a time, which is really annoying, but it is what it is. The trick to getting things to not stick to these is to get the pan super, super, super hot before you actually put the dough on it. So I'm going to put these in the oven now, and I'm going to shape the dough, and then I'll show you what it all looks like. This is how the dough is looking. It's gotten quite chunky. Yeah, she's not pretty. The edges do tend to go a bit weird because obviously you can't stretch it the way that you would normally, but yeah, hopefully it'll be all right. Slight baking fail. This might be the thickest pizza crust known to man. I don't care. As long as it tastes good, it doesn't have to be pretty. I am not the best baker in the world. Never mind, it's done. See, this is why you get your pan super hot. There is no dough stuck on that and just a few traces of flour. It's gonna be a breeze to clean. This one came out slightly better, but still definitely on the deep dish side. Oh, I don't know. If you're more skilled than me, it will look prettier, but I guarantee it will taste awesome. For my next trick, super quick and easy, or it would be if my air fryer gubbins were out the dishwasher yet, that it's about to finish, it's about, so we can get ready. Chickpeas. I can these chickpeas. These aren't chickpeas, these are lentils. Hang on. Chickpeas. Yes, I also can these. So what I'm going to do with these is make little savoury snacks. So instead of reaching for a bag of crisps or chips, if you're that way inclined, I can have these. And what I do is I put them in little Tupperwares, and then I can take them to work for a savoury snack. So these are already cooked. What I'm going to do is drain them, rinse them really well, give them a bit of a pat dry, and then you just add a little oil and whatever seasonings you like. Get these drained. Wow, there's a lot of chaos going on in here. Right. So pop some oil in. Not too much, but you know, enough to coat them thoroughly. We want them going crispy in the air fryer. I've got some, come on, open onion powder, which definitely needs using because it started to clump up, as onion powder tends to do. Give it a mash. Dump the whole lot in. It needs using. And I need to make some more. I have 3 bags of onions in my cupboard and I haven't gotten to doing what I want to with them yet. I'm going to put in, I don't know, 1/4 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. My colleagues are going to love me, aren't they? It's going to smell great. And some chili powder. I love spicy food and I can't wait for the day that my kids love it too. It will happen. I'm determined, but we aren't there yet. Right, Salt. It's not going to be a salty snack without salt. And then give it a really good stir. And then the most important step is to go and retrieve your air fryer tray from your dishwasher. I use mine so much, it's never not in the dishwasher. And pop them in about 200 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes. Check on them frequently and give the tray a little shake, and then they won't burn on any one side. And then you get a delicious, lovely, crispy, tasty treat. I will separate these into Tupperwares, pop them in the fridge, and eat them whenever I want throughout the week. This is sort of what we're looking for. Not burnt, but definitely crispy. As I say, they will keep in the fridge quite nicely as long as they're in a sealed container. I feel like this is becoming a parade of kitchen gadgets that Claire owns. I do use them all though. I did have to get a shelf in the garage to store them all, but I do use them all on a regular basis. This KitchenAid blender has been with me for 1,000 years. I've got a wee bit of tahini in this jar that needs to be used up because it's been in the fridge for a few weeks. So I have drained more chickpeas. Not green lentils, definitely chickpeas. If I make too much hummus, it doesn't matter. Hummus freezes really, really well, so it won't go to waste. Now, I'm gonna make this a carrot hummus. Why? Because for some reason, when I got my pressure canner, I thought it'd be a great idea to can 10 million jars of carrots. I don't like tinned carrots. I don't like the flavour. It's definitely a different flavour to fresh or frozen carrots. But they're just fine in something like this. And what I find is when I add canned vegetables to hummus, you don't then need to add water because there's plenty of water in these. So I'm going to drain these and get these in here as well. Believe it or not, whilst I'm doing all this cooking today, I'm also trying to clean my house. So right, I've got that in. I'm going to add some salt, which is now empty. Superb. We have more salt. You might think I cook with a lot of salt, but you have to think, how much salt is there in processed food that I'm not eating? For the most part, I'm not a saint. I do eat some processed food. There's nothing wrong with that, everything in moderation. Hefty dose of garlic. I feel like paprika. I'm gonna get paprika. A large quantity of paprika. I would love to put chilli in this. Can't. Kids, have I whinged about that enough yet? I'm not whinging about my kids, I love my kids. I just miss spicy food. I'm going to put in a generous glug of blended oil, which has at some point in its life seen an olive. The price of olive oil has started to come down though, which is good. At one point it was like £8 for a bottle around here, and now it's down to about 6. Which is better, but not perfect. And tahini, which is of course sesame paste if you've never used it before. It's the dregs of the jar, so it's a bit clumpy and stiff. Clumpy and stiff sounds like a terrible crime-fighting duo. Well, that was difficult, wasn't it? Hummus. Lid on. Blend to desired consistency, and then I'll split it between some Tupperwares. Forgot lemon juice. Oops. There we go. Hummus. It's really lovely with canned beetroot in it actually. I did make that the other week and it was very nice. Get that sorted. Oh look! The bread machine is done. Let's have a look. Ooh. I don't think I've mentioned, but you know, if you're into chaos cooking and want to see more, you should subscribe, that's the thing. Is there anything nicer than cutting into freshly baked bread? Look at it. If it looks a little dense to you, I promise you this is normal, full gluten-free. But oh, it smells so good. That'll keep me going. I'm just going to have some of this now. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get to the brownies because I've just had a phone call to say that one of my daughters has spiked temperature. So I'm going to go collect from nursery. So that's it. Not bad. I know it's taken me 5 hours or so, but I've been cleaning the house in that time as well. So I've done a lot today, is what I'm telling myself. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Bye.